Regardless of where you are on your Jira journey, there's always strategies to improve, new features to explore, and more to learn. In this presentation, I'll show you how to leverage some must-use Jira features to improve team collaboration, reduce friction, and increase user productivity. At the end, I'll share my top tips and resources to help you along your way. Hi, I'm Rachel Wright, Certified Jira Administrator and author of the Jira Strategy Admin Workbook. I'm excited to present today because Jira is my favorite topic. So what is productivity and why do we use software to be more productive? Well, I'm a bit of a workaholic and I used to think that productivity meant getting a lot done. And I'd work really, really hard, look up at the clock and realize 14 hours later that I had missed lunch. So James Clear is an author and entrepreneur and I like his productivity definition. James says, productivity is a measure of efficiency of a person completing a task. We often assume that productivity means getting more things done each day. Wrong. Productivity is getting important things done consistently. And no matter what you're working on, there are only a few things that are truly important. Being proactive is about maintaining a steady, average speed on a few things, not maximum speed on everything. So I know for me, I only know how to work at maximum speed, so I'm working on improving my own habits. So how can software make us more productive? Well, it can help us get organized, stay on track, measure input and output, plan what to work on, help determine which tasks are the most important, and measure performance so we can improve in the future. And Jira is great at all of this. I'm excited to share my tips so your teams can use Jira to be more productive. But before that, here are just a couple basic Jira concepts to know. Jira helps teams of all types manage their work. When Jira was first released in 2002, it was purely for software development. But these days, all kinds of teams like legal, marketing, HR, and IT use Jira. All kinds of industries use it to track their work and their team's to-do list. Jira is not just for software development anymore. The most popular application types are Jira Work Management in cloud, which is called Jira Core in server, Jira Software, and Jira Service Management. All three types have the same look and feel, but different features. The applications can be used separately or together. Additionally, Atlassian software is available in 3 different deployment types. If you have cloud, it means the software is hosted by Atlassian. That means Atlassian is responsible for application uptime, the database, and the mail server. If you have server, it means the software is hosted independently. Now, your application might be hosted on premises, in a server in your office, in your data center with other internal applications, in a cloud server environment like Amazon, AWS, Microsoft Azure, or Google Cloud Platform, or by a third party. Finally, if you have data center, applications are also hosted independently. There are multiple application nodes or instances for high availability, load balancing, redundancy, and disaster recovery. If you're not sure which deployment type you have, ask your application administrator or the person who pays the bills. Now that we've covered some Jira basics, let's move on to examples and demos. We'll use the following key to show the related application type. I've abbreviated Jira Work Management as JWM, Jira Software as JS, and Jira Service Management as JSM. There are many ways to view, present, and share information between stakeholders. Jira Work Management has some unique views to make it even easier. Let's take a look at Calendar and Timeline. This simple view contains a ton of useful data. For example, you can get a quick snapshot of your work or your team's work. In this screenshot, there are 3 users. Click on an avatar icon to filter the issues by user on the calendar. One user has an epic due today and another has a task due. You can tell both of these issues are complete because of their color. Hover over the icon or key to see the entire issue summary. And you can also hover over the avatar icon to see the name of the assignee. And finally, click the issue to open it in an overlay window. You can also see that 2 tasks have missed their deadline. Those tasks are represented in red in this view. Work on HR1 was planned to start on Wednesday and be completed by Friday, but it looks like that didn't happen. I better go check on what happened and reschedule those issues. I love that Jira Work Management makes it easy to see and move issues around in this view. For other types of Jira, add the Jira Issues Calendar gadget to a dashboard. It will display a simplified calendar view. There's also a timeline to display the same issue data in a different way. This view shows dependencies represented by curved lines. Use the standard linking feature or connect issues in this view to show relationships. Click a curved line to view relationship details. Unassigned issues are really easy to spot in this view. HR4 and HR5 both need to be assigned to a user. This view also shows parent-child relationships. HR17 is not scheduled, meaning the issues have no start or end date. Simply click the key to open the issue and add the needed dates. When dates change, you can update them here by dragging the colored bars left or right. You can also change the dates in the individual issues. If you like this view but you don't have it in your application, you can add similar functionality with an app from the Atlassian Marketplace. Search marketplace.atlassian.com for roadmap, portfolio, planning, and similar keywords. Next, let's talk about commonly missed collaboration opportunities in Jira Software. Setting a resolution is a very important part of any Jira workflow. The resolution field describes why or how an issue is complete. Use this field to indicate work was done, wasn't done, the issue is invalid, the issue is a dupe of another issue, and more. So in this example, the issue is in the done status, and the resolution is cannot reproduce. Now you can report on all invalid issues and issues that require no further action. In the workflow example on the left, I generally collect the resolution right before an issue goes into its final status. Again, Jira relies on this information, so I make sure to collect it. The workflow on the right, however, contains an extra status for validation. In this example, I collect the resolution right before the issue transitions from the developer to the tester. You can use this field as an opportunity to communicate the scope of the test to the QA team. So for example, if the resolution is cannot reproduce, then the tester just needs to verify that the issue is invalid. But if the resolution is complete, it implies that a code change was made, and there's more for the tester to consider. Next, there are some settings you initially might not like, but are often built that way on purpose. If you're not taking advantage of Jira's built-in hierarchy, it's time to consider it. There are two official levels, parent and child. Now, epics are not an official level, but because of their unique relationship to related issues, I call this an unofficial grandparent level. So as shown in the diagram, an epic is the highest at the grandparent level, the subtask is the lowest at the child level, and all the other issue types are at the parent level. This structure allows you to break up a large amount of work into smaller pieces. Some organizations use a step in the workflow for validation, like in the example on the left. Now, there's nothing wrong with this method, but there's a more flexible model to consider that works really well for software teams. The example on the right leverages Jira's issue hierarchy capabilities. Dev 5 is a user story with 4 subtasks. Dev 6 and 7 are for the development team. Dev 8 and 9 are for the QA team. Using this model, you can split a large effort into multiple smaller pieces. Different subtasks can have different estimates, due dates, and assignees. So when Dev 6 is done, the tester can start on Dev 9. There's no need to wait until all the dev work is done before testing can begin. After all the subtasks are complete, the parent is also complete. Let's address one more common complaint. Jira issues can only be assigned to one user. Now, some organizations hate this, and they do all sorts of things to get around it, like creating service accounts, sharing accounts, using distro email addresses. Yuck. When you're tempted to abandon or re-engineer Jira, try to understand why it works that way first. The assignee limitation exists, so large issues are broken down into smaller, more manageable parts. If multiple people are needed, each should have their own Jira issue or subtask to track their work. Otherwise, if an issue is assigned to everyone, it's really assigned to no one. And that's not a helpful way to communicate who's doing what. In Jira Service Management, there's another level of collaboration needed between agents and customers. Wouldn't it be nice to get some feedback, especially when a customer is happy with the outcome of their request? Traditionally, we did this in Jira with a workflow step, a transition screen, and a bunch of custom fields. But in JSM, collecting customer feedback is built right in. Here's how it works. When a request is resolved, a quick one-question survey is emailed to the customer. The user can choose their response directly in the email message. After the user clicks a response, a browser window opens to collect any additional feedback. If a comment is submitted, it appears in a dedicated project-specific report. Next, let's talk about some underrated communication features. Integration with other applications and middleware accelerates work and avoids duplicating information in multiple places. For example, automatically trigger a Zoom meeting when a high-priority issue is created, or send Jira work logs to an external building application, or sync information between tools so different teams can leverage it. For example, connect Jira to Salesforce so users can work from either application. There are lots of connection mechanisms available. Here's a common one. Chat applications like Slack and Microsoft Teams are often connected to Jira using apps or webhook functionality. In this example, Slack notifies a channel when epics are closed and when bugs are created. You can also create issues from within a chat program. This allows me to use my chat client as a home base, which is especially helpful when I'm traveling. Now I can see what's happening in Jira without needing to open Jira. Did you know that actions in other dev applications can trigger workflow transitions in Jira? When Bitbucket and GitHub are connected to Jira, they can automatically transition issues. This reduces manual work and keeps Jira issue status in sync with reality. So for example, if a code review is rejected in Crucible, automatically transition the Jira issue back to the to-do status and notify the developer that there's a problem. Or if a code branch is created in Bitbucket, automatically transition the issue from the to-do status to the in-progress status. Jira comes with built-in versioning capabilities so you can track which issues were deployed in each release. Fix versions represent contents in a release package. The effects version field is typically used by bug issue types to record the version a defect was detected in. These important standard fields provide a way to group issues deployed together and the ability to query for certain defects or patterns. Here's an example scenario. After the last release, a bug was detected in production. The bug is in the 1.0 version, and the fix will be made in the next release. In this scenario, the fix version is 1.1.1, and the effects version is 1.0. The releases page in a software project shows all the release versions and their progress. Sometimes this page is also called the release hub. This project has 3 versions. Each has metadata like a status, an optional start date, release date, and a description. Hover over the progress bar to see a count of issues. Click on a version number to see additional details. Here's an example of details page for a release. There are 4 completed issues in this version, but one has a warning. Jira looks for potential problems like completed issues with open pull requests, unreviewed code, failed builds, and more. At the top right is a button to access the Release Notes feature. Use this to copy release contents in HTML or text format and paste the information wherever release notes are stored. There's no need to manually compile a list of issues. If you require additional features, check out some of the release-related apps in the Atlassian Marketplace. Next, let's talk about improving communication in JSM. If you have Confluence, connect it to JSM to leverage Knowledgebase capabilities to support customers and agents. In this example on the left, the customer entered, "Printer doesn't print." On the right, a related printer troubleshooting page from Confluence was immediately suggested. This is an easy way to help customers solve their own problems quickly. JSM customers don't need Confluence licenses for this capability. It's no secret that the Jira environment is intimidating for less technical or infrequent users. But luckily, JSM has a way to improve standard Jira jargon in the customer's view. One thing I like to do is improve the field labels. I change summary to "How can we help?" or some other customer-friendly language. Try using the field display name to ask a question and make it easier for the customer to provide the information needed. Also, I use field descriptions when additional information is needed. Sometimes I use this feature for instructions, examples, or to show a desired format. Likewise, you can change workflow status display names for customers as well. Here's an example of a customized customer portal. Both screenshots show a custom announcement message for an upcoming event. You can format these messages using wiki markup and add links to the additional information, like in the example on the left. Use message and announcement banners as part of your customer communication strategy. Finally, you can also improve customer notification email messages. In the screenshot on the left, I've added custom copy, variables, and wiki markup. You can see the result in the email on the right. Finally, let's discuss additional communication capabilities in all application types. As previously mentioned, Atlassian applications all connect to each other. Here's an example of a Confluence application connected to a Jira application. You can connect multiple applications of the same type and even connect applications with different deployment types. When Atlassian applications are connected, time is saved by working in one place and not switching applications all day. While we're talking about application links, did you know you can create Jira issues directly from Confluence? There are 3 methods. First, insert the Jira macro on any Confluence page and click Create New Issue in the left sidebar. Then complete the form to create the new issue. Next, create a Jira issue by highlighting Copy on any Confluence page. Then click the Create Issue option that appears. The highlighted copy is the issue's default summary. And finally, create multiple Jira issues from a Confluence table. Simply highlight the table rows and columns and look for that same Create Issue button. In the overlay, click the Create Multiple Issues from Table link. Then select which columns you'd like to use for the summary and the description. This is a quick and easy way to get lots of data into Jira. Users who write requirements or test cases love this feature. Now let's talk about the most powerful part of Jira, reporting. Here are a few reporting terms to know. A query is a search or a way to answer a question, like which issues are assigned to me, or which bugs did the marketing team report in 2022. Searching in Jira finds these issues matching your specifications. In Jira, JQL means Jira Query Language, and it's the way to find a subset of issues when there are millions in the database. And JQL is for everyone, not just technical users. JQL powers Jira features like boards, dashboards, and reports. A filter is a saved search result. Create a filter to reuse the search query again later. A filter subscription is a periodic notification of search results. Jira can send email about certain issues at a chosen frequency. A board is a status-based view of issues, and a dashboard is a statistics-based view. Creating a filter starts with a search. Click Advanced Issue Search in the Filters nav menu in Cloud, or Search for Issues in the Issues nav menu in Server and Data Center. In this example, I searched for all issues in the Human Resources project that are assigned to me and that are not in the Done status. Click Save As at the top of the screen to save the search as a reusable filter. Now that we have a filter, we can use it in interesting ways. For example, set up a filter subscription to get a recurring email digest of issues in the query. I use this feature to remind myself to complete certain work, catch a data problem, or detect undesired user behavior. Subscriptions work really well for recurring tasks like quarterly maintenance, or reminders, or deactivating a user's account when they leave the company next month. Next, use one or more filters to power custom dashboards in all deployment methods. Dashboards are a great way to show high-level overview or snapshots in time. You can quickly gauge the health of a system, view a team's workload, or see other statistics data. You can also use filters to power boards. Boards provide an easy way to see the status of many issues at the same time. In this example, there are a few issues in the to-do column. When work is ready to start, just drag the issues to the In Progress column in this view, or go to the individual issues to transition them to another step in the workflow. Whether you use boards, dashboards, built-in reports, apps, or other visualization methods, there's no wrong way to view data in Jira. Use whatever you're most comfortable with and gets you the information that you need. The last underutilized feature I wanted to mention is time tracking. Now, I know most people don't like estimation and logging work, but it solves an important business function. Some organizations use work logs for resource capitalization, expense reporting, planning, or invoicing customers. Time tracking is not about how good you are at your job or whether you can complete a task quicker than your teammates. Its purpose is to communicate progress, show work remaining, and compare actual effort to estimated effort. Here's how estimation and tracking looks in Jira Cloud. The important fields are original estimate and time tracking. In the original estimate field, I've entered an estimate of 1 day. In the time tracking field, I've logged 1 hour of work. Jira automatically calculates the remaining time of 5 hours and shows a nice progress bar. Click on the fields to change the estimate or log additional work. Now, it's possible to globally disable time tracking, but I don't recommend it. Your organization will miss out on a lot of valuable data. All right, our first rule is an example of a simple SLA or service level agreement. The company wasn't ready for Jira Service Management, and they didn't want to add an app to give them SLA functionality, so we did something simple with automation. So the description for this rule is calculate and fill the due date custom field when the priority standard field is originally set. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to limit the rule to the Human Resources Jira project. And my trigger is going to be priority. So we're telling Jira here to monitor the priority field for changes, and any change type is acceptable. And this is only for the create issue action. We determined that we wanted to calculate the due date on creation, and then later if the priority changes, that's okay, but we didn't want to also change the date. We wanted a human to kind of review why the priority changed and pick a more suitable date. So that's our trigger. A very simple if block here, and we're just looking for different values within the priority field. So this is the one for highest, and if the value is highest, we are going to fill the due date with this smart value. So it's issue created plus 3 days, and I want to format it nicely in a way that Jira can understand. So we're saying highest priority, due date should be 3 days from now, automatically fill that in. And then we have another series of if statements for high, and that smart value is going to add 7 days to the creation date. And we also did one for medium, and that's going to add 14 days to the creation date. All right, so let's run the rule and see how it works. So I'm in the Human Resources project. I'll create a new issue. All right, and I'll give it a high priority. So we should have 7 days to address this request. All right, we created HR 27. And you can see my priority is high, and my due date is 7 days from today. This example starts out in the Jira Service Management customer portal. So pretend for a second that I'm a customer. I'm on a company's website and I'm having a problem. So I'll go ahead and report it in the portal. The shopping cart displays the wrong price. All right, I've created Help 71 and sent it to the support team. Okay, now I'm in the role of the support agent, and I have this request from a customer to figure out what the problem is. But I'm not a developer. I don't know. It could be a coupon code being applied incorrectly. It could be a price wrong in the pricing table. It could be all sorts of things. It could be a logic bug. So I need the dev team to help out with this. So I'm going to go run an automation to create an issue for them. So this is a manual automation. And the reason it's manual is I don't always need help from the dev team. Sometimes I can just answer the customer's question or solve their problem immediately. But in this case, I need a little more help. So I'll go ahead and run this rule. And it looks like the rule succeeded. So now in the bugs project, we'll find an issue automatically created for the team, and it's bug 7. So if you notice in bug 7, I automatically copied the title or the summary from the support ticket, and I also automatically linked it to the original support ticket too. And if I had provided more information like a description, it would have pulled that information over as well. The idea is don't make the dev team have to go to the support ticket to get all the data. Let's just push it over so they have it in one place. All right, so let's see how to do this. First, as I mentioned, it's a manual trigger, and I have it restricted to just members of the service desk, so the agents, and then also Jira administrators. I always like to add permissions for myself so I can troubleshoot things for others. So that's my manual trigger. And then here's my action, which is the clone issue action. And I've selected a project to clone into, selected an issue type, given it a summary, and actually I'm using a debug clause and also a dynamic variable there. We'll come back to that. Also, you can see if there was an attachment in the original support issue, we're copying it over to the new bug issue. Same with description, same with components, same with priority. The idea is to get all that information over there so people don't have to search for it. And then here's the way to link the issue to the support issue. So let's talk a little bit about that debug. Apparently at some time I was having trouble and I wanted to see what was going on in the background. So instead of using the log action, I can just add debug in front of the problem I'm having, and then I can check the audit log and see what information I can find. The rule was successful. Let's look at more details. And here's the debug message, and that is the summary message I was expecting. So everything's working well. I can remove that debug clause and run my rule as normal. I also wanted to share my top tips for getting the most out of Jira. First, Jira is just a tool. No tool can make up for a bad process, leadership, or results. If your organization is a mess outside of Jira, that mess is likely to creep into Jira as well. It's worth taking a step back to improve your processes, workflows, and communication before implementing or re-implementing Jira. Next, Jira loves data. To leverage Jira's powerful features, be intentional about the information entered. The saying garbage in equals garbage out is so true. If you enter inaccurate info or leave fields blank, you won't be able to leverage Jira's powerful reporting capabilities. Be sure to update issue status as work is completed. It's everyone's responsibility to make sure the status reflects reality. If work starts, update the status. If work stops, even temporarily, update the status again. There's no point in using a tracking tool if statuses are inaccurate. Also, it's important to enter the right information at the right time. Collect a small amount of information at the beginning of an issue's lifecycle and add data as it progresses through the workflow. The order data is collected matters too. For example, enter estimates before release contents are selected. Enter fixed versions, sprints, and due dates when issues are prioritized, and log work as it happens. Many Jira fields like start date, due date, original estimate, components, and issue links are vital for reporting or power background logic. Make these fields required in the workflow if users aren't consistently entering values. If an issue is in the in-progress status but unassigned, update the assignee. If the scope changes, update the estimate. Don't wait for someone else to update Jira issue data. It should be everyone's responsibility to ensure quality. Next, and I know not all application admins want to hear this, but if you hate Jira, and if it's a pain to use or doesn't work well for your team, it's probably your administrator's fault. Jira is very flexible, and sometimes organizations make bad configuration decisions. It should be configured to support your process. You shouldn't have to change the way you work to use Jira. If there's something that's not quite right, it might be fixable with setting changes or enhanced with a third-party app. Make a list of the top Jira pains and ask your admin which can be addressed. My final Jira use tip is to be proactive. Always start the day by checking a board or a dashboard showing new or important issues. Make any needed updates and then start work. Don't wait for Jira to send email notifications. Notification messages can be delayed, blocked, or filtered. It's better to use boards, dashboards, filters, and reports to monitor activity. Also, don't rely too much on the issue export functions. At one company, an exec insisted that we print out Jira issues every morning and put them in a binder for his review. Now, what a super waste of time and paper. As soon as data is exported or printed, it gets stale very quickly. A better strategy is to teach users how to find relevant information on their own. Your next step is to continue learning. There's always more to learn, and new features are added all the time. Read my Jira User Best Practices article for ways to make daily use easier. Users and business team members should read my 9 tips for getting action in Jira post for ways to get issues moving forward. And admins should read my 9 ways to learn Jira administration article for creative ways to continue learning. If you have questions, I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to send me an email directly or connect in social media.